morning. Welcome to Winnipeg. Now, don't you notice a huge difference outside to what it was last week at this time? Yeah, that's the way it goes here in Winnipeg. The seasons, they just suddenly change. Now, that does not mean that we can't have another blizzard. It's still possible. It could be that I'll be saying good morning in a week or two from now, and it'll be completely white outside. It's possible. It's happened before. Yeah. Anyway, let's not talk about the weather. I have received, I believe, a total of 3 comments. One of which disappeared when I was trying to comment to it. I must have clicked delete or something by mistake. Sorry about that, Vic. And I don't know what happened there. Anyway, yeah, but the comments went something like this. Well, maybe I better not be picking this up unless I'm a little closer. But on the back of Andy's photo etch bender are these little fingers here, and they were wondering if possibly I could have bent this part better by using those little fingers that are in the back. Now, I didn't try it, so I don't know. But in my mind, I kind of thought that those fingers might be too wide. So we'll, just for the fun of it, we'll slip on the macro lens and we'll take a closer look and see, hey, maybe I could have grabbed hold of that and folded it a little bit better. All 4 of the things that had to be folded. And also, I think it was California Paul was mentioning that there was some little parts that actually went between this base that we have formed here and this part. There's a little bracket that sort of makes it swivel up and down. Yeah, and I had nipped them off, but I forgot about them. So I guess we got to solder those in place too. Yeah, they'll probably be. As I mentioned, I do want to be painting the 66 instead of the 19. So, okay. Enough chatter here. We've talked about the weather. Oh, the sunrise. It's not going to happen today. We don't even have any interesting clouds floating by. It's pretty gray out there. But hey, we've had a lot of nice days, right? And if we don't have the bad weather, we don't really appreciate the good weather. So anyway, didn't I say I wasn't going to talk about the weather anymore? Let's mosey on here. Okay, these are the little fingers that we're talking about. And I don't need to measure the width on these to tell that this one right here is obviously the most narrow. Now I know I could probably open this up a little bit, and we could slip our little part in from the back like this. But I'm thinking that we would probably have a little better control. Let's just move these before I accidentally bend them. I think we'd have better control if we were to take this thing and raise it all the way up, and then this should swing around. Andy has done a nice job of designing this thing. Okay. All right, now we'll swing it around. And now our narrowest one is right here. Okay, so let's just put the macro lens on and recompose here. Very carefully now, very carefully. Okay, and see, would it have been possible? And now that I'm looking at it, I'm thinking that maybe it would have worked. Okay, where's that macro lens? Okay, we are moved right in here now. Okay, looking straight down on it like I am, I can see that this might have worked. Will it clear? Being as it's already formed, it's a little bit harder to maneuver around. Now I don't want to accidentally bend something badly out of shape here, like these square ones, if you know what I mean. Maybe I have opened up the breaker bars too much here. Let's close it down just a little here. Careful not to squash anything. Want to make sure I'm keeping everything loose, because if it's loose, that means I'm not accidentally breaking, squashing something. Okay, it's just about there. I wonder, just let me check the monitor. Can you still see that? Okay, the lighting is kind of wrong. That really cranked the ISO around. Okay, the answer is yes, I probably could have used this one right here. I probably could have. Okay, we checked it out. Yeah. Now when something like this happens, you don't dare release your tweezers, because it'll spread apart and it will bend something the wrong way. I've had that happen before. I thought I was releasing a part, and what I did was I accidentally spread it. Now, as long as we're set up here, I was looking at the manual a while ago, and I was trying to figure out how is this part supposed to go between. I wonder if I should be using a wider one. Oh, I think this one's just wide enough here. I'm looking straight down on if you're coming in from a rather obscure angle, and it might not look quite right to you. But I was wondering, how is this supposed to fasten onto this thing here? Okay, let's just crank that down a little bit and get our blade underneath. You know, maybe I don't need the blade. Or maybe I do. No, it's going. Okay. I have a feeling I may not be using these. Okay, that looks like about 90 degrees. All right, now, somehow, this is supposed to fasten in here. Why are those little holes there? See those little holes in the top of the bracket? They must be there for something, but I'm not seeing anything on this part that keeps flipping out of my fingers here. Okay, I'm not seeing anything on that little square tab. I'm going to have to resteady the manual here. Okay, I have everything off to the right-hand side of the scene, because it is my intention to later superimpose the manual up on the left-hand side, so that you can see that I am doing this the way the manual says it's supposed to go. Okay, now don't poke at it, you got it. Okay, now if we bring our part in, it is supposed to, let me check the manual again. Yeah, it's supposed to go, it's supposed to fasten down on there, but just let me tilt this a little bit. How are we going to get that? How are we going to get that flat bracket? It just doesn't make any sense. It's not like there are little, is there any kind of little hooks or something on that are supposed to go in those little tiny holes? I'm not seeing anything. I'm not seeing anything. But it's supposed to go something like this. You know, I can see where I can probably, oops, I'm bumping everything here. Yeah, I can see where I can probably solder this together. But maybe, yeah, I'm just gonna take and just solder this bracket in there, and then we'll still use my system of, after everything is painted, to glue this piece that I'm picking up right now onto that flat platform. That's the plan. Okay, I have just spent the last hour or so editing everything out you have seen up until right now. And when I was looking at the enlargement on the screen of this area here, I'll just use this needle as a pointer. And I was noticing that when you look at it up close, you can see the point of the arrowhead. It shows that this part right here comes down, and it doesn't mount on these brackets that are folded up that have the little holes in them. It looks like it is supposed to go right down and fasten down onto the flat part of this base here. Then this base goes down, and of course it fastens, I was going to say flatly, on this piece right here. So it's possible that these pieces that have the holes in them that we bent up a few minutes ago are actually supposed to wrap up and around. Now, I haven't tried it yet. Now, let's give it a try. Maybe that's the way it's supposed to go. And that'll make it easy, actually. Now, is this going to fit down inside there? This is very iffy. It looks like it will. Okay, I think that's the way I'm going to do it, and it might be wrong, but that's the way I'm going to do it. Now, another thing we've got to do here is bend these little, you might call them feet or something. So let me get this out of the way here. Okay, you can see here I got these little feet that I've got to bend out so that they're flat. What can I grab onto those with? Maybe the tweezers might be the answer. Because I think they're just too small to fit under the nose. I'm going to end up breaking something under the nose of the bender here. I think the bender is just too rounded to catch them. They sort of have a tendency to want to ping them out, if you know what I mean. Okay, now you can see here when I use my tweezers, and depending on how you squeeze them together, I guess it's possible to get them, you know, the same way every time, but sometimes it'll be more this way or this way. I don't know if you're watching what's happening there. Anyway, now what I could do is I could file them so that the ends were completely blunt, and then I could grab onto it like this. That might work, but this is a very, very, you got to get it just right. Now, the Tamiya nipper, I mean the Tamiya folding pliers, the right at the edge there, they are not flush they're kind of rounded. Like the part that I'm touching right now, it's not sharp, which might be a good idea. Maybe it's so people don't cut themselves. But on the other hand, it doesn't make for a very precise tool. Unless maybe I just thought of this right now, unless I was to grind the end. Yeah, what I could do is I could get some emery cloth or sandpaper, and just sand the end like that. Then it should always go together. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Then I can grab it right on the end like this, just in exactly the right place, and bend it. Okay, should have thought of that. I was originally going to take and flatten these out, but these are much more precise. The hinge is not going to be giving, if you know what I mean. At least I hope it doesn't. Yeah, it seems to be it's pretty good. Actually, it's very good. Okay, where's my sandpaper? Okay, I've got myself a piece of 1000 grit sandpaper. Obviously, I've used it quite a bit, but I think it's probably enough grit on it there that it's going to do the trick. But a moment ago, I looked at the end of this right here, and doesn't it look like I've already done that before, or was that maybe done in the factory? Does anybody remember? Did I do this before once already? Because they look pretty good already, but I'll just make sure. I have been using these quite a bit, so I'm just going to go back and forth here and just sort of wear this down. I don't think there's any use putting on the oh yeah, we'll put on the macro lens. I haven't used the super macro in a long time. Now, I later decided not to use the super macro, and the reason being is because it's so finicky and takes a long time to set up, and I'm sort of running out of time here today. We'll just use the regular macro. It's plenty good enough. Okay, I have got it here. And I think that when I bring that together, it's coming together really well. It feels very sharp. And the idea is that I want to be able to just grab onto the... See, now I've got to get my angle just a little bit different here. Just grab onto this like this. Squeeze it together. Now, should I... Oop, there, I got it. Now, can I do this on camera or not? How am I going to push it the other way? Right now I'm steadying myself with both hands. If I put my finger on it like that, no, that's not going to work. I may have to just go ahead and do this off camera. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend right there. Maybe I should check the monitor. Have I got it right? Yeah, it looks pretty good. Okay, yeah, I only have to bend it about, I'm guessing, 30 degrees. Maybe 35 degrees. Or maybe 40. Anyway, what's the difference, right? Okay. Oh, by the way, there's a viewer by the name of Alice who appreciated my nice, sharp photography. Well, thank you, Alice. Now, your dad is really good at making something that is plastic look like wood, like on that antique aircraft that I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, he did an excellent job to make that plastic look like wood. Yeah, okay. So some people are good at one thing and other people are really good at something else. And I can't make plastic look like wood. Okay, just let me do this off camera now. Just grab hold of it here again. Ooh! I'll get it, don't worry. See, I told you I'd get it. Now, one of them did seem to bend a little easier than the other. I'm wondering if this one here that doesn't seem to be as good, possibly could that be the one that pinged off on me and I sort of nipped a part of it away? Anyway, it's going to fit down just fine on that top of that turret, I hope. Okay, let's move on here. Maybe that bracket that they were talking about a while ago, maybe we could glue it onto the other piece. I could probably just use CA on that. I don't think I need to solder it. Oh, probably about half an hour ago, my doorbell rings, and it's Merv at the door, and he says, "Oh boy, am I retired?" I said, "Oh, how come?" Well, he says, "I just put up that flag. Have you seen it yet?" No, I hadn't seen it yet. So I says, "Come on in, we'll take a look." So we cranked up the computer monitor here, and sure enough, there's his new flag. Looks pretty good, too. I said to him, "You don't have a computer, do you?" He says, "No, I don't." And I said, "Oh." And he says, "Yeah, I'm going to wait until I get old." He's older than me. Okay, I am using self-locking tweezers here. And we are going to let gravity be our friend. Now, we're going to just do a dry run here. We don't put it on like this. We turn it over and put it on the other way. I'm just going to have to grab this differently if I can. And the holes go front to back. Now this is just a dry run. I'll try not to bump the tweezers. Whoops. Yeah, now I do not want to be using the CA quick setting, because if I get it in the wrong place like I just did there and want to move it 1/4 of a millimeter one way or the other, it's just not going to move, is it? But that is perfect. I wonder, could I maybe pick it up like this? Let's just try that. Okay, I put down the CA, I pick it up, and I drop it on like that. That's working. Now, did I bump it out of the field of view? I don't think so. I don't think we need too much, but you know me, I always put on more than I need. Okay, now that should not cure. This is the CA thin, not the extra thin quick setting. No, I don't think I need to poke down on that. I think that it's probably that blob of CA has flattened itself out under there, and I think that probably in a couple hours, that's going to be, well, not as good as soldering, but it's not going to fall off. Okay, we are not done yet. We gotta bend this to make sort of like make a U shape out of it, and then it has to fasten onto the side of this thing. I guess we will be soldering this. Well, let's, I don't know if we're gonna have much time here left today. I guess we have time to maybe just sort of roll it so that it's rounded. Yeah, let's have fun doing that. Sometimes I get stubborn and I refuse to use my wax pencil. I don't know why. Wax pencil is a lot safer. Okay, now probably I would think this one is going to do it just fine here. Okay, I don't think we wanted any more than that. I think that's going to be okay. Okay, now we're going to have to set up some sort of a, I guess almost a couple of jigs, because one jig is going to have to hold this large piece, and then the other jig is going to have to hold this piece in exactly the right place. Stop poking at it, for goodness sakes. Okay, I'm going to think about this for a bit here. Okay, I think I've got this one figured out. So I've got it securely mounted in the clamp here so that it's not going to flop around. And this one here, I think I can probably see, we've got to solder it right there, just like that. And I think what I'll do is use a combination of the helping hands and a pair of tweezers, like maybe even these tweezers, and just slowly get everything into place. But I think I'm going to do that in the next episode. Thanks for watching, everybody, and all being well, we'll be seeing you tomorrow.